Hello, welcome to T-Joy Creations. Today's vast topic is like sitting down to a great holiday meal and taking one bite. The silver lining of pandemic 2020 has been that we have had a flagrant reminder that we are all interconnected. The very first reports of coronavirus came from all the way across the planet, but within days, every continent and country was affected. The virus spread throughout us one by one, and slowly our systems have been challenged, stretched, or dismantled. We are now coming into another election in the United States, and this is one of our times to step into one of our civic duties, to vote. It's time to step forward and be part of the choosing process. It can feel small and insignificant, rather incidental for sure. Although I am a consistent voter, I tend not to be the one that feels like it makes a big impact and carries a lot of weight. However, one of the things that it does do for me, particularly that I'm aware of, is that it gives me time to pause and reflect on what my civic duties, responsibilities, and values are. It reminds me that it's a privilege to live in a country that promotes liberty and justice for all. We are being challenged in figuring out how to do this together and stay united in the process amongst our polarities. But since I deeply value personal responsibility for my choices, I equally value what is appropriate to take for measures of collective responsibility. What's good for the whole, the common good. I love the quote by Martin Luther King Jr. He says, "In a real sense, all life is interconnected. All men are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects us all indirectly. We are all part of systems that are woven together. For example, do you have kids? Then you are part of the educational system. Do you have a job? Then you're part of the economic system. Do you go to a doctor? There's the healthcare system. Do you use highways, trains, or planes, subways? The transportation system. Have you used an attorney, called the police, or been in a courtroom? There's the judicial system. All of our systems are so ingrained that we can't even see them anymore. It's like we're fish and we don't even realize that we're in water because it's all we know. Our systems are succeeding and they're failing. I can't change the whole system, but my responsibility for being involved is where I make the change. I can control two things most of the time: my effort and my attitude. I'll admit, lately, my attitude has been way too cynical. And what I can do is I can compensate with my effort to improve my attitude. I was really struck by Colin Woodard's book, American Character. He does a great job reminding us of how we as Americans have spent the last 250 years getting to where we are now. He covers history, philosophy, ideas. He takes where the philosophies and the theories that were formed into our constitutions, really being a balance between individual liberty and collective or common good. The paradox of broad individual freedom requires individuals to act altruistically. It requires the successful to pay it forward to support the institutional and cultural achievements that made their own ascent possible. So here, as we come into an election again, this is my suggestion on how we should vote. So when you vote, I'd like you to consider not voting for one person. Don't even think of voting behind one leader. Don't think of voting to make a stance or a statement. Don't think of it as a way to get behind someone. I want to encourage you to find a way to vote for the benefit of all. I want you to consider voting for what's going to pull together the greatest amount of people. I want to encourage all of us to consider voting in such a way that we can create a world that can elevate as many people as possible for what is most beneficial for not only yourself, your family, your state, but the country, which will impact the world at large. I mustn't vote for me. I must vote for we. I'm asking you to consider voting for me in the sense of we. If I don't, I'm forgetting my own highest values, morals, and ethics, which include peace and justice and liberty for all. If I just vote for me, then I'm not voting for the sick and the poor. If I vote for just me, then I'm not voting for those who are in the military and for those who have different belief systems than I do. But if I vote for we, then I'm considering what is best to keep the peace for everyone. And within the peace and in the environment, then we are able to actually step up and have discourse and dialogue. If you would consider voting for the we, then we can have a place where we're considering how to come together. That's the form of love. And that's what I think is actually God's love. And I would say that that is what's going to help uphold religious values. Because religion, in some ways, is causing a lot of uncertainty among us, not because it's uncertain to come forward into any religious stance, but because there is perception of how we're trying to have religion and politics come together, and to vote one way is trying to merge it together, and I think there's a lot of danger there. I want to encourage us to not think about voting for yourself. Think about what it's going to take to have peace for all citizens, because undoubtedly you're going to be at odds with somebody, maybe even someone in your own household. If we make an enemy of our own fellow citizens, then certainly we are going to fall. Whoever gets elected, whoever is stepping forth to have the microphone and the bully pulpit, that person is someone who hopefully we can get behind. But consider, as you come to vote, what is your responsibility? Your responsibility is to respect, to cherish, and to honor. I am responsible to respect my fellow friends, family, and citizens, especially if I disagree with them. I am responsible for finding ways to create love, harmony, beauty, and upstand with truth. I am responsible to uphold my standards of integrity of truth for everybody, not just me. If I vote just for me, I'm being very selfish, and that does not uphold any religious standard. To step into the ways of love and truth, wisdom and compassion, I want to encourage you to consider what is wisdom and compassion and how you step forward to vote. I'm asking you to vote for me. I will vote for thee. Together, we vote for we. United we stand, divided we fall. Vote for me. Vote for thee. Let's vote for we.